Have you ever felt like you have this really powerful thought, a complex idea, but putting it into words, especially under pressure, maybe on a test, it just falls a bit flat?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
it gets lost in translation somehow.
Exactly. So today we're going to unlock the secret weapon, really, the hidden architecture of English that lets you weave those thoughts together clearly, effectively.
We're talking sentence structures.
Yes. A deep dive into sentence structures.
Are
Our mission to genuinely transform how you communicate. We're aiming for those higher scores, IELTS band 7+, but also just making you a clearer, more impactful communicator overall.
right.
We've gone through a whole lot of material on this, pulled out the key strategies, the real shortcuts you can use right away.
And it's so important because understanding these structures, well, it's not just about ticking grammar boxes, is it?
Not at all.
It's about how we actually build arguments, how we show nuance, how we guide the reader or listener to that aha moment. It really is about how you say it.
Okay, so let's start at the beginning, the absolute foundation. We need to talk about the clause.
The basic building block.
Right. Always has a subject, always has a verb, like John runs to the store. Subject, John. Verb, runs.
And that example, John runs to the store, it's a complete thought, right? It can stand on its own.
Exactly. Which makes it an independent clause. And an independent clause all by itself is actually our first sentence type.
The simple sentence.
Yes, but hold on. If an independent clause is a full sentence, how do we start building more complex thoughts? How do we connect things?
That's the key question, isn't it? You can't just list simple sentences forever, especially not in sophisticated writing or speaking.
Right. So let's stick with that simple sentence for just a moment longer. It sounds basic, but it's surprisingly flexible.
It really is.
Its core is just that one independent clause, but it's not just one pattern. You can have, like we said, one subject, one verb, John runs.
S plus V, the simplest form.
But you could also have one subject doing two things. John walks and runs.
So S plus VV, still
Yeah.
simple.
Or two subjects doing one thing. John and Ravi walk.
SS plus V, still one core idea.
And you can even combine those. John and Ravi walk and run. Two subjects, two verbs, but still functioning as one single independent clause.
It's amazing how much you can pack into that simple structure. It's all about clarity and directness.
Mm-hmm.
When you need to make a point land, a simple sentence can be incredibly powerful.
Definitely. Think thesis statements, topic sentences.
Exactly. But like you said, too many in a row can sound a bit elementary.
Choppy.
Yeah, exactly. So that brings us to connecting those independent ideas. And this is where compound sentences come in. This is where it starts to get really interesting.
Right. Now we're linking complete thoughts, eager thoughts.
Precisely. Two or more independent clauses joined together. And there are basically three ways to do this.
Okay.
The most common, you probably know the coordinating conjunctions, F and boys.
For and nor, but or yet, so. Yep. Each one shows a specific relationship. For shows a reason, and adds an equal idea, nor connects two negatives. Requires that little inversion in the second clause.
Like, I don't like swimming, nor do I enjoy.
Exactly. But shows opposition, or gives a choice, yet it's like, but with a hint of surprise.
That's a good distinction. I like pizza, but I don't like cheese. Versus, I like pizza, yet I don't like cheese. That yet adds a different flavor.
It does. And so shows a result. The crucial thing for all of these, remember that comma before the fanboys when joining independent clauses.
Absolutely crucial for punctuation. Okay, what's the second way?
The second way uses conjunctive adverbs, words like however, therefore, moreover, consequently, in addition. They do a similar job to fanboys, but are often seen as a bit more formal.
Right, you see these more in academic writing, perhaps.
You do, and the punctuation is key here too, and different. It's a semicolon before the conjunctive adverb and a comma after it.
Okay, so semicolon, conjunctive adverb, comma.
Yes. So instead of I like films, but I don't like the theater, you could have I like films, however, I don't like the theater. Or I like football. In addition, I enjoy cricket.
And things like, for example, or for instance, work this way too, right?
They do. And there are others for time, emphasis, comparison. Lots of options.
And thinking bigger picture, choosing between fanboys and conjunctive adverbs isn't just random. It affects the tone, the formality.
Absolutely.
A conjunctive adverb spells out the connection very explicitly. It guides the reader quite strongly. Using them well definitely signals a higher level of control over the language.
Good point. And the third way to link independent clauses, It's the simplest punctuation-wise.
Just a semicolon.
Just the semicolon. If the two ideas are very closely related and you feel the connection is obvious, you can just use a semicolon between them. I like math. I like numbers.
Concise. Elegant, even.
I like pizza. I do not like cheese. It connects them tightly without needing an extra word.
Okay, so simple sentences, compound sentences. What's next?
Now we get into adding layers. Nuance. Detail. Complex sentences. These are essential for explaining why or when or under what conditions something happens.
Right. This is where we move beyond just linking equal ideas.
Exactly. A complex sentence needs at least one independent clause, the main idea, and at least one dependent clause.
And a dependent clause is one that can't stand alone as a sentence, right? It
Yep.
needs the independent clause to make sense.
Precisely. And what usually makes it dependent is a word at the beginning called a subordinate conjunction. Think of words like because, although, while, if, when, after, unless, until. There are many.
So if you take I like to dance, that's independent, but put because in front.
Because I like to dance. Now it's dependent. It needs something else. Like, I like music because I like to dance. Now, I like music is the independent part.
Got it. And the punctuation matters here too, doesn't it? Depending on the order.
Hugely important. And quite simple, actually. If the independent clause comes first, you generally don't need a comma before the dependent clause. It was raining outside while we were eating. ICDC.
Okay, ICDC, no comma, usually.
But if you flip it, if that dependent clause starts the sentence, you must put a comma after it before the independent clause begins. While we were eating, it was raining outside. DC. IC.
DC, IC requires a comma. That's a common error spot.
It really is. And you can get creative with the structure too, like having a dependent clause, then independent, then another dependent. The core rule about the comma after an initial dependent clause still applies.
So these dependent clauses, what are they actually doing for us, functionally?
Great question. They're not all the same. We can think about a few main types based on their function. First, you have adverbial clauses.
Like adverbs, they modify verbs, adjectives, or other adverbs, telling us how, when, where, why.
Exactly. And crucially for essays, they're great for concession, acknowledging another view before stating yours. Although many people prefer the black Mercedes-Benz, I do not. That although clause sets up the contrast.
Right, showing that balanced perspective. Very useful. What else?
Then you have adjective clauses, also called relative clauses. These describe nouns or pronouns. They tell us which one or give more information.
Okay, like the book that is on the table is mine.
Perfect example. Now, there's a key distinction here with punctuation, depending on whether the clause is identifying or non-identifying.
Ah, the comma rule again.
Yes, if the clause is necessary to identify which noun you mean, it's identifying and you don't use commas. The boy who lives down the street is happy. We need that clause to know which boy.
Makes sense. Without it, we don't know who the boy is.
But if the noun is already clearly identified, maybe by name, then the adjective clause just adds extra info and it's non-identifying. So you do use commas. Mark, who lives down the street, is happy. We already know it's Mark. The clause is just bonus detail.
Got it. Identifying. No commas, essential info.
Yeah.
Non-identifying dot commas, extra info. That's a really useful distinction for clear writing.
It is. And the third main type, noun clauses.
So these act like nouns.
Pretty much. They can be the subject or often the object of a verb. Think about a verb like believes. It needs an object, right? You can't just say he believes.
Right, he believes something.
That something can be a whole clause. He believes that people should wear hats in cold weather. The entire clause acts as the object of believes.
Okay. Or like, he mentioned how people can live on the moon. That whole how clause is the object of mentioned.
Exactly. And you often see why starting noun clauses, especially answering opinion questions, like in IELTS Task 2, explain why you hold this view. Your answer would likely be a noun clause.
That's very practical. Okay, so we have simple, compound, complex. Is there one more?
There is the grand finale where we combine everything, the compound complex sentence.
Complex.
It can be, but it's logical. It just means you have at least two independent clauses
Right.
and at least one dependent clause, all in the same sentence.
So combining the structures we just talked about.
Precisely. It allows for really detailed, sophisticated expression of related ideas. You can structure them in various ways, maybe independent clause, semicolon, another independent clause, and then a dependent clause attached to the second IC.
Okay, like IC, ICDC.
Yeah, for example, the men worked hard in the afternoon. It was a payday when they were to receive their bonus. See? Two independent clauses joined by a semicolon and a dependent when clause at the end.
I see.
Or you could start with a dependent clause, then have two independent clauses joined by, say, a conjunctive adverb, DC, I see, moreover, I see.
Like, although the women worked in the rain, the work wasn't difficult. Moreover, they could talk while they worked. Oh wait, that last bit while they worked is another dependent clause.
Good catch. So that example is actually DC. I see, moreover, I see, DC, even more layered.
Wow, okay, so they can get quite intricate.
They can. Another common pattern is I see, DC, and I see. Dogs often pant when they are hot, then this helps them cool down. Independent clause with a dependent clause inside it, joined by and to another independent clause.
This type of sentence really lets you weave together multiple related ideas, main points, reporting details, conditions. It shows a high level of thinking and control.
Definitely. It's about synthesis, connecting the dots for your reader in a single, coherent thought structure.
Which is exactly what high-level communication requires.
So wrapping this all up, what does this deep dive mean for you listening? We've unpacked the four main sentence types in English.
Simple, compound, complex, and compound complex.
Right. You now have a better sense of not just what they are, but crucially, how to build them, connect them, and punctuate them for real clarity and impact.
But it's not just theoretical grammar, is it?
Not at all. This is practical. It's about expressing your thoughts precisely, whether that's on an exam or in an important email or presentation. It's a toolkit for being more effective.
And remember, knowledge is great, but application is everything. The real skill comes in choosing the right structure for the right moment, varying your sentences intentionally.
That's the key. Using a simple sentence for punch, a compound sentence to link equals, a complex one for nuance.
Exactly. It guides your reader, controls the flow, makes your arguments much stronger. It's about consciously shaping the language.
And it's not about just writing long sentences for the sake of it. Length doesn't equal quality.
But definitely not. Effectiveness is the goal. Clarity, impact.
So here's something to think about. Start paying attention. When you read an article or a book, or even just listen to conversations, how are the sentences structured?
Yeah.
How might consciously noticing those structures, simple, compound, complex, actually change how you understand the message being delivered? Maybe even reveal something about the speaker's or writer's intention.